Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge with your latest Manchester United transfer news. And this is big news. It's in relation to Jadon Sancho. He will not be sold in January. Manchester United will not be selling Jadon Sancho in January. And there is a direct correlation between the announcement of the deal with Ineos with the Glazers and why that won't happen. Logically, I suppose it makes sense. It is a little bit disappointing, but you can understand that we're going to have to be patient around the manager, around Sancho, around recruitment. The next 4 to 5 months is going to be about a review, and big decisions are not going to happen until after that. So why is it Jadon Sancho can't be sold in January? Well, the bottom line is there is a lack of trust from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his team to allow Manchester United to be doing these sorts of deals anymore, because Manchester United have made so many bad decisions around recruitment and around wages and transfer fees that there isn't the trust that Manchester United can get this deal done. The feeling is that unless Saudi Arabia came in and Sancho wanted to go to Saudi Arabia, there isn't a good deal that Manchester United can actually do in January in relation to a sale of Jadon Sancho. Now, the stance from Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not that Jadon Sancho's staying. It's not that Sancho needs a second chance. There is no way back for Jadon Sancho under Erik ten Hag. He may well end up staying until the summer, but he won't be playing any football. You look at the first team at the moment, you've got Garnacho, you've got Rashford, you've got Anthony, all fighting for first team spots. Ahmad's still here. Pelistri is still here. That's 5 people, plus Bruno and Mount can play off the wing as well. There is no pathway for Jadon Sancho if he apologises or Sir Jim Ratcliffe says we need him back. There is no pathway for a player that has burnt his bridges with Erik ten Hag and who Erik ten Hag doesn't actually fancy playing. Not to mention what the damage might be with the fans. I mean, look, it was a massive win at Old Trafford and it was fantastic to hear Old Trafford like that in the second half against Aston Villa. You don't want to be dismantling that by putting a player on the pitch that may well end up being booed or jeered or who knows what. This is not a decision from Sir Jim or the Glazers or anybody that we're not selling him because he's staying. This is about business, and this is about Manchester United, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his side of things not trusting Manchester United to be able to do a deal, and not wanting Manchester United to be wasting all of January when there are other things that they could be working on, potentially a departure for Anthony Martial. Remember, it's only 4 weeks in January. If you spend all time going, what we're going to do with Jadon, you start getting into negotiations with people like Dortmund who are just going to drag it out. That's not what United want. The feeling is that United have the power here. The feeling is that they're in a strong position, and the feeling is that they're not desperate to sell him in January when they could do something in the summer, by which time Sancho will be out of football basically for a year and may well have had a loan deal that benefits him and boosts his value. So patience, again, looks like it's going to be a virtue for Manchester United. Obviously, we were hearing this morning that with regards to this deal that's been done between the Glazers and Sir Jim, he will take control of the footballing side. They will own the football club. They will dictate the budgets. They will run the commercial side of things. But the footballing side will be Sir Jim Ratcliffe's responsibility. Therefore, there is no decision that the Glazers can make in January, whether it be through John Murtough, Erik ten Hag or anybody else. They cannot make a decision without Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying it's okay to do that. So they can't sell Sancho without Sir Jim saying yes. And unless there is some ridiculous odd bid from Qatar that Jadon Sancho wants to do, they're not going to get the offer they want in January. So what does that mean for Jadon Sancho? I think it means he either sits on his arse and doesn't play until the summer, which I don't see how that benefits somebody. You know, you've got to question a footballer of his talent who hasn't played football since September, who wants to wait until next September to play. I mean, look, it takes all sorts of players to play the game of football, and some people, you know, we've seen players that just don't seem to be that interested in the talent they have and actually playing games, whereas other people are obsessive and want to play every single game. Surely Sancho wants to play. Surely that's got to be his end game in the January transfer window. I think United will look at this and go, look, we haven't got the time to be spending, trying to find a buyer for Jadon Sancho in January. Yes, we want him gone. Yes, Ten Hag wants him gone. Yes, he wants to go, but he's just spent 3 months earning wages, doing nothing. There is actually a case here to say, look, let's kick this issue down the road. We're doing a review. He may well be part of that review. So let's kick this issue down the road till the summer. Let's look at what options there are in relation to a loan deal. Let's put him in a club where he might thrive. He might put himself in the shop window, a little bit like Mason Greenwood has as Getafe. Get him back playing, get him having a smile on his face, get United progressing as hopefully we can in separate pathways, and in the summer we reconvene in a more mature way and go, look, you've done this on loan, there's this offer, this offer, this offer, what do you want to do? And I think that is the way that United see it. And I've got to say, there will be things. Look, it's the old traffic light system again, isn't it? It's the negativity of red, it's the positivity of green, but for me, it's everything in between. It's the amber, and I think that the future of Manchester United is very amber to me. I think there will be some positives, and I think there will be some negatives, and it's just about which way it's going to end up in 2 or 3 years' time, because that's how long everybody wants to solve this in a minute. It's a good deal, it's a bad deal, and I think it's an amber deal. Like, there are things straight away that I look at and go, don't like that. But then there's other things I look at that and I go, well, that will lead to an improvement. So I just think we've got to navigate our way through these next 6, 18 months and see where we end up. And the first bit is 100% to analyse and review. And I actually agree with this. I'd be interested to see what you think in the comments. What do you think we should be doing in the summer? Is there a pathway back to the first team for Jadon Sancho? Not why Ten Hag's here. I don't see that. Not this season, anyway. I think if he wants to play for Man United again, you got to get out there and prove you're still a good player first, which he was at Dortmund. And then maybe in the summer with a different attitude and a different mindset and a pre-season, maybe there is a way back. But ultimately, I think for everybody, the best way is get yourself the best club you can get on loan, which isn't in the Premier League. We shouldn't be doing that unless a Premier League club wants to buy him, in which case, there might be something there, but that's not a deal for the January transfer window either. I think the Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos approach is correct, and it goes hand in hand with what the January transfer window needs to be. No big deals, in or out, review and assess. And unless Saudi Arabia are going to come in and offer ridiculous money for Sancho and he wants to go, who is going to give us the money we want for Sancho in January? A loan deal is the best offer. Get him out, get him back playing, get him away from Carrington. He will be focused, we can focus. We'll assess and review the situation, because you've got to review that situation. So David Brailsford's got to review what went wrong with Sancho. You have to. On pre-season tour, he looked like he was going to get an opportunity, and he did. What went wrong? Was it just simply, poor timekeeping and a poor attitude, or is there learning positions from this? There's certainly learning positions in relation to why we bought him in the first place. He had issues at Dortmund in relation to lateness and other problems. Why are United not reviewing the players off the pitch and their personalities? That's another thing that needs to be reviewed. So I think loan deal, Leipzig, Dortmund, Juventus, something like that until May, and then reconvene. And I completely agree with this stance, and this is from a very good source, by the way. The whole lot is from a very good source. I would completely agree with the stance that there is a reluctance from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's people to spend time in January searching for a sale, which will take so much time, so much effort, and probably end up with no deal, when you just go loan, leave that problem until the summer and work on other things. And also, most important of all, the people that you want working on this deal aren't going to be there in January. If United start going off down a road to sell Jadon Sancho, you're dealing with Sancho's agent and whoever else the club is, and then you've got John Murta and whoever else is in the club at the moment dealing with it. And I think there is a lack of trust from Sir Jim and his people to say, this is a huge deal, and we haven't even got our people in place to deal with it. This is a loan deal, and we will deal with it in the summer. And I think that's a very mature way of looking at it. And I think that will underpin a lot of what we do in the January transfer window. If Todibo becomes available and we can do that deal, Sir Jim Ratcliffe can be involved from the Nice side and you get that deal done at a good price. If you can't do that, you wait till the summer, and then anything else in January really needs to be opportunistic and short term. It needs to be another Sabitzer deal. It needs to be something that could work for 4 or 5 months that you assess in the summer and see if you want to make it permanent. But wasting time with John Murta and the current recruitment setup on signing players and selling players, I don't think so. I think the only deals we do are deals that jump out. Now, maybe John Murta's trip to Saudi might jump out with a real opportunity for an Anthony Martial or a Sancho or someone like that. But unless it's something like that, I think you focus on the January transfer window, in a really opportunistic way. If there are short-term loan deals that we can do for players that may be a long-term project, maybe we do that. But I completely agree with the Sancho approach. And I don't think in the January transfer window we'll really do a hell of a lot. I think we will do bits, but I don't think we're going to do anything significant. I really hope, and maybe we'll get some more information on this in the next couple of days or so, I really hope that we're not going to see Rafael Varane sold or Casemiro sold, because that to me would send us towards the red. And remember, we're in a traffic light zone here. Positive is green, red is negative, amber is everything in between. And I think with this Sajim and Glazer deal, I can see some green, I can see some red, but most of it's amber. But if you start selling Casemiro or Varane to raise money, that's red. You know, if we start cutting costs, and we've heard that a lot of people are going to lose their job under Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Look, efficiency savings can be a good thing, but they have to be coupled with efficiency savings in the squad, in the sense that there's a lot of players who earn a lot of money that aren't good enough. And when you start selling people like Varane and Casemiro, that's not about selling the right players. That's about selling good players that have got a value. You need to get rid of the shite, if you know what I mean. Anyway, get your comments in below. Do you agree with this approach with Sancho to loan it and reassess it in the summer? Or is it a deal that we need to get done in January? Get your comments in below. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We're back around 7 tonight because I'm doing Everton Man City watch along at 8. Take care, everyone, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.